Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for episode 9 Candid Conversations. Bill, how are you doing today?
I am doing just peachy here at 8:14 in the evening.
Yeah, so it's no longer day. And even
No.
myself, 5, I'm like, oh my goodness, we are running out of time in the day. But I thought it would be fun. So our fun question, I'm actually going to take it from how I started off our monthly meetups with the small business community, which if you guys are watching, you should know. I've talked about it a lot, but we had a monthly meetup and Bill had his power go out, so he wasn't able to join. So I'm like, oh, actually, it won't be a repeat question for him, but I think it's a fun question. So starting things off, Bill, do you have a favorite Disney villain? Who is it and why?
Well, I had to actually think about that, and I did not have an answer until just now.
Okay, good. But I was like, you're only 4 years older, so you grew up with Disney.
Yeah, well, and it's been years because I remember probably one of the last movies that I watched. As they were coming out. I don't remember. I want to say Lion King. I mean, I've watched quite a few Disney movies, but growing up, anyways, being like a dedicated child to that, I think Lion King might have been one of the last ones. But Santa Claus. Anyways, besides the point. I think I actually now I don't know. I'm trying
Scar,
to
right? Scar, is that what you're trying to say? The lion?
No,
no?
I was just trying to remember like what the just in general. No, it's Finding Nemo. That was one of the last Disney movies. I remember that.
It's the barracuda that killed Nemo's mom.
Yeah.
Your favorite? Yeah.
Well, I can say it now.
The hunter and Bambi.
Because they are officially a part of Disney. The favorite Disney villain would be Darth Vader. So, I mean, I don't know if that counts.
And why? That's always the best part.
Because he has asthma. No, I think honestly, I would say it's the story. Like, well, growing up before we had the episode 1, 2, and 3, he was just this. I don't care what you think. I'm gonna do it my way, and I don't care. What your problems are. Get it done. Yeah, and you got this meme I've seen on Facebook that he's all big on businesses. He stopped rebellions. He employed, I don't remember exactly. I haven't seen it for a while.
All those stormtroopers.
Yeah, he employed hundreds or thousands of stormtroopers, and all of this logic of why Darth
fueling
Vader
the economy.
Yeah, fuel.
All
that's
the
what
fuel
it is.
for all of his ships.
Bringing peace to the galaxy, and you've seen it too. I take it. Yeah.
Someone, I don't think it was you. I think it was someone on the way, which I think they might even be listening, but they were saying their favorite movie was 3. I'm like, that's the one where he goes through killing everyone. And they're like, well, I don't like it because of that. Because that's the only thing that is in my memory of when he's going through and you see the little kid looking up and then
Master
cuts to another scene.
Skywalker, what are you going to do? I'm going to kill you. Yeah.
Man. I think for myself, which I've said it, because we had 2 different meetups, so I've said it 2 times plus in the Facebook post, but Cruella and Scar are my favorite ones. So Cruella's from 101 Dalmatians.
I always hated her.
I think she's just so funny though, because she is just slinging insults almost everything she's saying.
Yeah.
Even her henchmen, she can't stand them. She calls them idiots. And I think when I watched it back as an adult, I'm like, we watched this, and she's like, you idiots. I'm like, and we had no idea what was happening. And
Right.
when she's like, this blasted pen. And so every time I have a pen that doesn't work, I'm just think of her. I'm like, this blasted pen. And it's only if you've seen the movies that you understand the reference. But she calls the husband Bashful Beethoven because he's a failed musician. So there's little snippets where I'm like, that was a really good burn. And as a kid, you just have no idea, but it's the script writers who were like, ooh, let's make her
Right.
really snappy and just awful, but at the same time, just man, whoa. And then because then it's also truly horrifying that she's trying to steal puppies to skin them,
Yeah.
to make fur coats. And then Scar, he's just got that deadpan dark humor of super funny. I like that I'm surrounded by idiots, so of course that's so applicable
Yeah.
for all of us.
You're
Even
talking
myself.
about the cartoon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I thought I'll agree with you on that. I thought that Scar was good, especially his little musical about I don't remember what his.
Be
King.
prepared.
Yeah,
all
be
of
prepared.
that
That's what it was. Yeah.
for the death of the king. But yeah, okay. And then from there, I asked this in one of the meetings, but I ended with it, and I felt like it was kind of like not a good way to end. So this day two of the meetings, I left with the leave something encouraging. But I think to me, it's like I'm interested in that. But so any fictional work, what is a good guy that you're supposed to like that you just can't stand? When you watch it, you're just like, I cannot stand this person. They bug me so much.
I don't know. I really don't. And I really couldn't think of anything because like when I watch movies and you know I'm more interested in the story itself as a whole. Like I'll watch one of the worst movies you could find. I can't say that. Some of them have been so boring I couldn't even continue. But for the most part, it's not specifically the characters I look at. Some of them do stand out, of course, you know, as any show does. But I can't say that there's one that I can't stand the most. At least not that I can think of.
You're too kind, Bill.
Yeah. You gotta love
I watch
everybody.
any show. Like my old manager at Starbucks, we would both watch that show Survivor, and he'd ask me, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "I can't stand them. I wouldn't vote it off. They're whiny. They're annoying." Like I list like 10 things, and he's like, "Oh, I liked them. I didn't think of it like that." And I'm like, "Oh, you're too nice." Because the whole time I'm watching, I'm just like, "Oh, this person," and they get people like that on purpose for those shows.
Right.
But what comes to
Actually,
mind for me?
I do have one.
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't. No, I don't. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
I'm watching
Maybe
Star Trek right now, and I was thinking of some of the characters, but you know, I guess I'd be the guy that if it's Star Trek: The Next Generation, I'd be in the ballpark of Shut Up, Wesley. If you know, do you know who Wesley is?
No.
Okay.
I know this guy with the pointy ears.
Okay, that's a little bit before the Next Generation, but
But yeah, let's bash on Wesley. Oh, he's so annoying.
he is a 17-year-old kid in the series or whatever. So
For me, it's Tony Stark, so the Iron Man. I just can't stand him at all. The actor too, because of which I'm like, I don't know if he's a mean person, but basically any show, and I do this with a lot, like even people I meet in person. I'm like, if I don't think you're a kind person, like a genuine kind person, I'm just turned away. Like it's not worth having a relationship with them. It's like keep your distance. And I feel like I haven't watched all the Iron Mans because you watched the one, and I'm like, he's an awful person. Like I feel like he doesn't redeem himself, and that's the point. Is like you can start bad in these movies or fictional works, but you gotta like have your, you know, like the Saul to Paul moment. Like God blinds you on the road to Damascus, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're preaching the gospel. But I think at least in the Iron Man, that doesn't happen. I'm like, he's still a rude billionaire tech person. And I'm like, he would not be nice to me, and I don't think to many people. So that, and there was another Marvel one where I couldn't remember, but he like breaks all of his fingers. He was a surgeon, and so then he gets a magical
Doctor
power.
Strange.
Yes, I fell asleep many times in the theater during that one. It was such a long movie, but him too, I feel like he never really came around to being a nice person. He just did good things, if that makes sense. And I don't even remember the story.
Well, yeah, and he's more focused. Like, I mean, you see it as you watch the franchise, but I mean, his priority is there's bigger things at work. If a sacrifice needs to be made for the greater of the cosmos, then that sacrifice needs to be made. I guess, you know, before he became Doctor Strange, yeah, he was totally stuck up, and I didn't like him at all either. But I'd say after he became Strange, he's still pretty stuck up, but he's a little bit more humble and understanding.
Maybe that's the parts when I fell asleep.
Might be, yeah.
I had to stop going to movies around that time because I was like, I was really into all the superhero stuff, and then it wasn't just a once a year, it became like 2 times a year. Now we've got new movies, and then 3 and 4, and I'm like, it's too much to keep track of, and the lengths get longer whilst our attention spans get shorter.
Right.
And I'm like, I can't stay up this late if it's an evening movie, and then to be in a dark room in a comfy chair. I'm like, you just put me to sleep. That was like an expensive nap to take.
Bill Murray. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to go watch Ghostbusters, maybe, with my nephews. I say maybe because there's 2 movies we might watch. But I never cared for Bill Murray. He's got some funny moments, but his characters are kind of a disappointment. So if you could take him out of Ghostbusters, I'd be okay with that. So yeah,
So you do like a remake. You just go back in and replace him using
CGI.
AI.
Yeah.
Take everything out.
Keep the character, but leave out Bill Murray. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's probably good also here we don't end with that because
Right.
now getting to the business side of things. Bill, you had mentioned to me just the other day about mind maps and you're really excited about that. Can you kind of talk to us about that? What are they? And then how are you thinking of using them either in your own personal life or your business? Because I think that was something that you were excited about. I'm like, cool, let's talk about that because it is like a good concept to work through.
Yeah. Well, and I got all excited about it, and then tonight, as I was starting to work on it before we connected, I got really disappointed because, like, in my mind, when I sent you that text, I was all excited. I was like, here's the final product of what this mind map's going to look like, and then here I'm getting on my computer, and I'm like, I'm not ready to make this yet because like the stuff that I want to put on there is not even ready. Pretty much courses and a mind map. I mean, the best way I can explain it is it's like a family tree or a flow chart of different steps or what leads into what kind of thing. And how I was going to use it or how I'm planning on using it a couple different ways is because I'm developing an online Bible Institute, having plenty of courses, currently only 2 right now. But how I was planning on using it was here's the main courses or classes, whatever bundles, whatever you want to call it. These are the primary requirements that you have to take. And then after that, I mean, you're thinking of a whole entire family tree. As you expand, as you go further, it'll kind of pan out. You know, you've taken this class. Now you can go ahead and go to this next one. Okay, now that you've done this one, you can go to 2 other directions. Now that you've went in one of those directions, you got 3 more directions to choose from. So I thought about making something like that, and then also as well as I don't even remember. There was something else I wanted to use it for. I don't even remember, but I thought of using that, creating something like that to help the students get an idea. I mean, we'll have a course catalog, of course, but if they're wanting to know what direction that they can go, or like if they have a vision of this is what I want to accomplish, then they can look at this, you know, kind of like a flow chart to see, you know, here's where I got to go within this. But they can be very helpful when you know, starting a business, you know, what steps need to be taken, you know, tools that can be used, and within those having different subcategories of other tools under those tools, you know, all sorts of different things you can do with those. And you know, that's the only thoughts I really have on what a mind map is and how we can use them.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of when I was in college. They would, once you were in your study that you were in, a lot of the houses would give you like a map and you would have to like pick classes. Like some were required and then there were some like you can choose what do you want to put in of like the electives that you could do.
Yeah.
And I think overall like the good part with that is like it gives you the direction and an like bird's eye view so you know where you're going, which it's one of those things like we have talked about before too. Like not only do you have to get them in, but you want them to take the full course to do like, right. If you have tests, take those tests so that you can end up with this certificate, the document saying like, I did this, but then why? So that you can move to this. So, you know, like kind of showing the person, the patron, customer, whoever it is, like there is a purpose to this. And like by building it up, you're slowly getting a good foundation, especially with if you're doing an institute. Like,
yeah,
there might be some fun things, but if you don't know like the history of the church and how it started, like it's going to be really hard to talk about whatever this like doctrinal issue or theology is if you don't know like, oh, you need to go back to square one and then start from there.
And you know, I'm actually reading a book called Willing to Believe by R.C. Sproul. And the book itself talks about the will of man or free will, that the whole controversy among the Christian faith. But I originally bought it, and that's how I'm personally seeing it is a book to get a better understanding of Pelagianism and semi-Pelagianism. And I'm not going to even go into too much detail with that because that's a long story.
Most of the viewers are like, okay,
yeah. So that was my interest for buying it, but because it was briefly mentioned within church history. Within when I took the course, and then, you know, different depending on what textbook, what books you read on the issue, it's obviously going to allude to a little bit more. But I really wanted to get a deeper understanding. So, I mean, that's why I bought that. And using that as an example, you know, that's a doctrinal issue and need to know, you know, if you're a pastor of a church or, you know, whatever else related that you're going into. So yeah, like you said, having a mind map will show you is like, here's the end goal, but these other things are going to be helpful tools to help you reach that goal, or to be the best. No, I'm not even going to. I'm not even going to go there. I think you know where it's going, but
for my own, I think that's what I have some like beginnings of that, of like, if you want to start, like, are you a aspiring business owner, current one, and then with the website I read it, I kind of take you like, here's what I would suggest you go through.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something I want to relook at again, as I don't know, I feel like it's one of those things you're always revamping, re-updating. You're like, this was cool 2 months ago, but now it is falling flatter. Like, something's not quite there, because I had wanted to create like a PDF, and like, you get the PDF, fill it out as you go, so that you can really, it's for the benefit of the person, which you would say too. Like, it's like, I have information that I want to share with you, and you can get a lot out of it, but if you're not gonna take it or like remember it, then why are you here?
Right. Yeah.
So that's something that I had told Bill, of like, people will not read a web page. Like, everything can be there and they just won't do it. But if you come up with some of these, tricks, and maybe that is the trick to it, you need to like understand your consumer, and like, they don't want to read. So like, the Legally Start Your Own Business course that I started, I'm like, you can already find this. It's been on my website since I started the business. Like, I documented how to legally start your own business. But will anyone read that? No. But they see me like, hey, take this course. Then they will probably do it. So I'm like, oh, it's just crazy to be like, do I need to create courses for everything I have? Or maybe it is just creating that map and say, here are a few email courses to start with, and then follow this, and you will be good and dandy.
Yeah.
But from here, what did you do in this past week, and what's coming up?
A lot, and a lot more. No, this past week I just finished writing up the last bit for, I would say, version 1. And I shared this with you earlier. I'm not 100% happy with the completion of it, but it might be creator's critique. So we'll wait and see what happens and get some feedback. But I just finished writing up some the last bit of information for a course I'm working on the Book of Romans, and plan on recording them this weekend, the last 3, and then putting the final test together, and then it's done. So that was the highlight, among other things, but that's the biggest one that I absolutely enjoyed. And then I want to take a break, but I don't want to take a break, so I can't really. I'm the guy who's like, okay, what can I do next? What can I do next? So, but church history is the next course that I'm planning on developing, like you were mentioning. But I think for the moment, I'm going to just kind of take back, relax, and touch up one of the previous course, Christian mentorship, because there's a few things I want to add to that, and the workbook as well. And then, like I mentioned, I want to work on my Greek a little bit, learning biblical Greek. So, and do some reading. After I completed those courses, because like besides the stuff we do together, my weekends are filled with, okay, I've got to work on these things. And so now I'm at a point where I don't even have to really bother with it. So the past 2 days I've spent some time reading. I was like, this is nice. So,
and the funny thing is, it's most likely reading about like heavy topics, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not fiction. Like, when, like, if I were to say I'm reading, I read for fun. So it's like sci-fi, imaginary things, and you're probably like, let's jump into that. Like you mentioned those 2 words, some part of
semi-Pelagianism and Pelagianism. Yeah.
So those listening, it's not Bill like, oh, it's like, yes, we are getting more information.
Yeah. Well, and I find that to be fun. Like, I mean, I'm a sci-fi guy. I cannot read comic books. I've tried. I've got a couple Star Wars comic books. I've tried. I've got one that was gifted to me, and one I actually bought. The first one I bought. The second one was gifted. And
then you told everyone, don't give me any more of these, please.
Yeah, because I tried reading it. I tried reading the first couple pages, and it's like I put it down as if it was garbage, and I picked up my theological books. I was like, I'd rather read this instead. But it's really interesting because like the animated stuff of Star Wars and stuff, and I'm not that big into it. I'm at the point where, oh, okay, they have a new one coming out. I'm no longer all giddy like little kids like, ooh. But I can watch the movies, TV series, whatever it is they have, and not just Star Wars, but any sort of sci-fi thing. But to read sci-fi, I can't even do it.
It's tricky. A lot of it's very tricky.
Yeah.
For myself, I worked on a lot of it were, those meetups, which they're only 1 hour, but I felt like on those days I was just like waiting. The one that was later in the day, I'm like, okay, can't really do much because I'm waiting for that. I'm like, Michael,
You're
it's
sitting
1
in a
hour.
rocking chair drinking your coffee while you're waiting for time to pass, aren't you?
Just like I'm doing little things, but they're not like big things, because then on Wednesday I had a call with the mentor, and I was like kind of waiting before I take a next like big step. I'm like, I want to hear what he has to say. So it was kind of within all of that, but kind of from here, I finished that email course, but I'm not going to launch it yet. First thing I'm going to do is come out with that new email sign up and then start making posts about that. And I mentioned it either last week or the week before, but like more narrative, taking people on the journey of here's what I've gone through, why you will benefit by joining this email list, becoming an inside member. And then he also cleared up some things with like, I offer a free like consult call, jump on a call, we'll talk about your business. And he basically said like, in the beginning, when you're just looking to get them, make it as easy as possible, where I want them to like prove to me that you actually want to talk to me. But I'm going to change it to like book a call, take them right to my calendar to book. Like it's a 20-minute call on the day that I choose. So like I can specify quite a bit, but I'm going to try that and really push forward with like emailing every week. So the small business community is one email list. And then that new inside member, there's like 3 people on it. But I'm like, we're going to be emailing them because I want to make money by being able to email. Like if I can figure that out, then I'm like, beautiful. Just writing, like, oh, and it can be done, but it's definitely not easy to do. And then finally, because we are at the limit.
Are we? Yeah, we are.
Those intro questions were fun, but I was like, oh, they ate up time fast. But Bill, leave us with some encouragement. I said it weird like that last time, and when I listened to it, I really liked it. I was like, I was waiting for it. I'm like, it came across well.
I can't pronounce my laws. This is something I'm gonna have to think about, like to prepare a little bit more for some words of encouragement.
Yeah, I sent you the questions.
I know, I read them, I read them at work, so I should be prepared.
For the death of the king.
Yeah. Be prepared. I would say wear your safety glasses. We got safety meetings at work, and one of the guys mentioned this, like, oh, make sure you come prepared to work and all that. And like, so that is my words of encouragement. So you don't get your eye poked out. And perhaps next week, we'll, taking the words from Michael, we'll be a little bit more prepared to the death of the king. So. Yeah.
Well, I will say, if you are a business owner, they have blue blocking glasses, which, talk about me not liking Tony Stark. These are like Tony
They are.
Tony Stark glasses. They're the gold ones because I wanted everything like gold and yellow, but the ring light destroys them. But yeah, safety from that. I know. I actually didn't even put that together until right now. I'm like staring. I'm like, oh, Tony Stark glasses. They look like grandpa glasses though. When I got them, I was like, these are like those. They're really ugly, but you can make it work because they are so like. But I think for myself would be, which I feel like I've shared this before, but knowing like sometimes you don't necessarily know what next steps to take, and it's okay to kind of be in the like resting, like keeping up with the business, but then like now I feel like I've got distinct things to do, so then it's like exciting to be like, yes, now I will go ahead and do some of these things. And I think just having a mentor is really helpful for that, which I was like, I could have figured this out myself, but just even like when Bill and I are talking of like, hey, I want to throw this idea out, how do you feel about it? Like having someone, whether it is someone above you or even like peer to peer, like we're in this together, I think is really helpful, really in all aspects of life, but especially in business, because it's tricky. And it's like, I can be doing a bunch of different things. Like Bill can be writing like 3 courses at the same time. Should he? I don't know. Probably not. Like, you shouldn't. But if he doesn't know that, or say if you're new in business, that's why it is really helpful and impactful to like come into like a community. Promo, join the inside member. But really being willing to, even if you have to pay for a mentor, to say like, okay, they can get you going in the right direction, and then you can save yourself a ton of time, stress, and just
Right.
like I should quit. No, maybe you
Yeah.
don't. You just need to like change directions.
And and that's one of the benefits of classes. I mean, regardless of what it is, like I mean, you're working on developing some stuff or developing your own business or helping others to develop their business. And some people for me, I swing two ways. It's one, I want to learn and figure it out. I've always been that kind of guy, but at the same time, I don't know what I need to figure out. So taking courses, to develop a business can help. And Michael, he's thrown out a lot of wonderful stuff that has been helpful. Well, I can't say I've used it. That is helpful. And I don't mean to say it. That sounds bad. It's
No,
not
I
bad.
get it.
Okay.
I get it. Yeah. Especially because a lot of it's for like beginning, and most that's
yeah.
what I was telling the mentor to. I'm like, I need to find people that haven't started that are ready to start, which is very narrow because like everyone on the podcast and in small business community, they've already done all this. But
Right.
at this point, I can share with them my continued journey and like, here's what I'm doing. But until I hit certain levels of success, I won't have the same amount of credibility or punch to what I'm doing. But I'm like, but I have started and I've terminated. So like, I can help you out with that, like flat of like,
Well, and they can also help you, like, because you're figuring, you've got, I don't know, as an example, you've got 3 cups in front of you. Very bad example, by the way. I don't know which cup to choose, or 3 books, whatever it is.
I thought you were asking. I'm like, I actually literally do have 3 cups right here. So I'm like,
okay.
you were
Well, then
really
here
paying
you go.
attention throughout our recordings of like, I only bring this one on the show for product placement. But I was like, oh wow, Bill,
Yeah.
you did keep track. Yellow.
Well, yeah, the bottom line is you've got all these different things you got to do. You don't know what needs to be done. You don't know which one's the right one, which one's going to fail, and so on. And having somebody like that, for example, with Michael starting a business, that can help you go in the right direction that you need to go to accomplish these things. And likewise for my side of things, I guess we should probably close this up, shouldn't we?
This is your encouragement though, so keep
Okay,
going. You're on
there
a
we go.
roll.
My encouragement, yes.
To follow up the safety
Well,
glasses.
when it comes to developing a ministry, which is what the goal of what I'm doing is to help you to get to that point. Is you start off, I don't know what I need to know. It's like, congratulations, here it is. So we've got, as an example here, 10 courses, 10 whatever, there's a set amount of information, resources, and everything. That's the basics that you need to know in detail. And then from there you can go further with that, however it is. But education itself is very beneficial. You can do it on your own. It's going to take longer. You're going to try to figure things out. Things are going to fail. You're probably going to go in the wrong direction. But finding some way to some sort of learning platform is very beneficial because it'll help you with a more focused and narrow view of what needs to be done.
Yep, and learning from those that have already failed before you.
Exactly.
That's what I'm like. That's one of the good things. I'm like, I can say, don't do these things. And Bill, you have that same experience of like, here's where I spent too much time, or looking back, like I didn't need to do this. I should have done this. Do this.
Learn from the losers so you could be a winner.
Yep. And with that, we'll call it a day. We're bringing up all these like elementary. Go over to his show, and we sing through the John Jacob Jingle Hyper.
No, you sung through the John Jacob Jingle Hammer
Heimer. Yeah, I don't even know the words. I'm just like, but yeah. So check out the show notes. Get connected with both of us. Subscribe, like, comment in the comments your favorite Disney villain or a good guy that you can't stand. So we'll leave it with that. Call to action and join us on the inside.
There you go.
We'll see you next week.